So today we are going to take the baseboard trim off. We have MDF trim in this house. We're going to take it off so we can rip the carpet up and put hardwood floor down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a box cutter and we are going to cut along the trim to separate the paint from the trim. So when we pull the trim apart from the wall, it's not going to rip the drywall and paint off the wall. After that, we have a special trim remover tool that we are going to use to pry the trim apart. And then after that, we're going to hammer the nails down behind the trim so it's safe to move. So I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process of how to do each thing. Please help us grow our channel by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and dropping a comment below. We appreciate your support. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut and separate the baseboard trim from the wall. As you can see, when you start to paint, you get layers of paint caked up against the trim. And so if you don't cut, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to pull the drywall or the trim apart, and you don't want to do that. So you're going to take a box cutter, you go right like that. You're going to just cut against the trim and the wall. You could do it a couple times too if you don't have enough pressure on it. What that's going to do is that's going to separate the trim from the wall. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your trim puller and put flush against the wall. If you have it like this, you're going to end up cutting into the drywall. You don't want to do that. You're going to want flush. You're going to take a rubber mallet. I like to use this because it's less loud. You're going to through. It's going to pull apart. You're going to just keep doing it all the way down the wall. You're going to keep doing it all the way down the wall. And as you can see, that allows you to easily pull the trim apart. And behind the trim, there are these nails. Some of them will come out when you do this, some won't. If they don't, you could grab a hammer and just pull them out. That will allow you to easily separate it from the wall with a nice, clean, sharp line of where the paint was and where the original wall was. If you don't do this, what will happen is this will just peel up as you pull this apart. As you can see here, this is what happens when you don't cut as cleanly. So it could have been that this was just a very thick section. It feels quite thick right here at paint. And so I cut through it once and I probably didn't cut quite enough. So as you can see, it pulled it up. So later what we'll do is we will end up retexturing this and painting it so it's all smooth and looks like the wall again. So if this happens, it's not a big deal. It just means you didn't cut through it cleanly enough. Could be a dull blade, could be anything like that. We'll go into this in a later video where we retexture and repaint this. It's not a big deal. All right, so the next step after you get all your baseboard removed is you're going to scrape off all this excess right here on the wall. Yeah, out of the shot, out of the shot, go, good girl. Because you want it smooth between where your paint is and where the baseboard was. You're basically just going to take your scraper, just going to scrape this edge off, that, go both ways. Any excess drywall that comes off is totally fine. Just going to do this. You want a nice clean edge that you can work with because what I like to do is I like to paint down a little bit. That way, when you take the carpet out, if the floor sits a little lower, you won't have a little bit of gray showing between the white wall and where the baseboard is. So you're just gonna do this all the way around, all your walls. Want to get this extra cardboard off. It's part of the drywall. If it peels up, come back and do that. You're just gonna work your way all the way around. We took some spackling, we filled any holes that we found on the wall that were caused by the trim being pulled off, And so what it looks like is it looks like this once it dries. So the next step on this process is we're going to just take off any excess so it smooths out the wall. So we're just going to take our scraper, we're just going to scrape along it, and this will take off any excess and it'll smooth it out so you can see how it's coming off. We're just going to do this for all the areas. So the next step in the process is we're going to retexture the wall where we patched any holes. This is just a wall texture spray you could get at any hardware store. It allows you to adjust depending on how large the texture is on your wall or small. So this is kind of a patch example that we're going to use. Usually you would put down some tape and cardboard, but we're ripping this rug out and we're throwing it away and replacing it with hardwood floor. So for us, it doesn't really matter if we get paint on the floor. So you're gonna hold it about a foot away or so, and you're just gonna spray. You're gonna wanna go over and past that. And that way you have a little texture that if you need to sand anything down, it blends in. And once it dries, it'll be white. So we're gonna go around the house and we're gonna spray this down.